Now, if you're a big Bob Dylan fan, I'm sorry to disappoint, but today is the feast of Our Lady of Knock, which happened in Ireland on this day in 1879. Now, what happened was a woman by the name of Mary McLaughlin, about as Irish of a name as you can imagine, was a housekeeper at the rectory. And she saw outside the window on a rainy night an image where there had been some statues that had been destroyed a couple years earlier. She saw some figures and some light, and she was kind of freaked out. So she went to the house of one of her friends, Margaret, to kind of feel safe and secure. She told Margaret about what was happening, and Margaret said, "Let me walk with you back to the rectory." As they were walking by, they saw these figures, which looked like Mary, who had a crown on her head. To Mary's right was Saint Joseph. To her left was Saint John the Evangelist. Right beside that was an altar. On the altar was a lamb representing Christ, the Paschal Lamb. Behind the altar was a cross, and around the cross was a whole bunch of angels. So, having both seen this vision, I imagine they sort of did a double take to each other. They ran home and told Mary's family. So they all came, about 15 people in total, came to pray in front of this image, ranging in ages from 6 to 75. Now what they all recounted is even though it was raining outside, there was no rain falling on these images, these figures. So the next day they went and told this to the local priest and the bishop, and as you can imagine, they were a bit taken aback. And as typically is done in Catholic world, the leaders were a bit skeptical at first, for a good reason. But after investigation and after interviewing all the people who had been present there, it was affirmed that this was a Marian apparition, an official Marian apparition. Now what's unique about this apparition as compared to Our Lady of Lourdes or Our Lady of Fatima or Our Lady of Guadalupe is that in this image, all the people were silent. There was nothing spoken, there was no message to deliver. Instead, we have these figures, which is also unusual. Joseph, who cared for Mary during her life up until around the time Jesus began his public ministry, and Saint John the Evangelist, who took care of Mary from the cross onward. Now, I think this event is a great reminder to us that as we are about our business, as we are about carrying on the mission of Christ, that we're not alone, that God is present with us and helping us in our journey. It's a great reminder as we hear in our first reading today from the book of the prophet Ezekiel. Ezekiel is preaching has this vision of this great field of dry bones, to which God challenges him to preach, to prophesy, and that God's Spirit will come into these bones and enliven them and give them a new spirit and bring them back to life. What's interesting is from that apparition till today, now annually about 500,000 pilgrims come to visit the shrine of Our Lady of Knock in northwestern Ireland. And it's a great reminder to us that as we are about preaching the kingdom of God in what might feel like at times a lifeless field of bones, that God is with us, that where we are has tremendous potential, not because of what we do or how we prophesy, but because God is with us and working with us silently. So today, take some time to reflect on the God and the saints who help us and continue to walk with us, albeit silently at times, in the ways of faith.